Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike. I'm coming at you with yet another video. This time, talking to you about the DX-9's Gabriel. I want to talk about him. I want to talk about a handful of things with the Omega Supremes, the differences between them, why I picked Gabriel over the others, which not really over the others, and just a handful of things with these Titan class and my predictions for the future of Hasbro, because I think that's tied into Omega Supreme and what's going to go on with Hasbro and a few other things. So let's get right into it. First thing I want to say is that this guy is big, and as you can see with the size comparison, he's the same size as the Titan, what was it, Generations Metroplex, and right around the same size, a little bit taller than the G1. Slightly taller than the G1, or if you want to consider it G2 or RID or whatever, Fort Max. So, big bot. Way heavier than any of them, too. So, a couple of features on this guy. I'm sure there's a lot of crazy things you can do with him, but what I found was really good about him is that he came ready to go out of the box. You just push the button and it lights up. So, that's something I did not know. I thought I was going to have to fumble with batteries and try to make sure I get the right batteries. Hope I don't mess up the battery compartment opening it, because those are all concerns that I have. When you get a masterpiece third-party figure that you spend $200, $300 on, and then you have to use some sort of tool to get it open and scratch it up, it just feels really terrible. So anyway, that's a plus. So both hands have lighting feature that is ready to go out the box. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's some good ratchets. It's got multiple ratchets. Those are strong, and as you can see, it held Megatron just fine. MP36 trying to still function. And I know that's from one of the episodes in there. So just really, I'm really impressed with right out the box. DX-9 has great sculpt. And I think this thing, in my opinion, is the most cartoon accurate. I think that you could stand side by side with the fans' toys and nitpick square inches of each one and find one that is, this section is more, and then another spot on fans toys is more G1 accurate. I mean, you could just go back and forth on that one, but for me, I just think that this one overall fits the aesthetic, and I'll get into why the pluses and minuses of fans toys and Jiang versus this one also. If you can see right there, that light just lights right up with the push of a button, and I didn't put batteries in it. It came just like this. It came sealed out of that big giant box that's standing behind it, just like this. So I am impressed with them. I really like them, and I think the biggest problem with them that's been pointed out too is when you mess with the arm feature here, getting it on and off. It's how you raise and lower this. So raising and lowering this piece here, you have to open this up, and well, I just cut my nails. But my nails are strong enough to just open it. I can open it with my nails. I never used a spudger or anything with that, so that was, oh man, they got some tight ratchets in those things, but you can open and close it. Gosh, that's tight. That's tight, but it's good that it's tight. It's not a bad tight. It's not like, you want that strength on something this big if he's going to be supporting the weight, and you have to have that strength in there. I do like having a strong toy that's going to hold up over time, and then it just slides right in there, and then it's got its ratchets. So, and it's really hard to kind of screw it up. Okay, so. Use the clear decals because I think that looks more accurate to the cartoon, and I think that's where I'm going now with clear decals instead of the silver or the white. Unless, of course, the cartoon shows it with the white surroundings, but if it shows it with the clear, I'll go with clear. So with that said, the next thing I want to do is just kind of like show you with them next to Prime. So those of you who've been posing Prime next to Metroplex, really the Metroplex isn't really a masterpiece kind of quality of a figure, although I've thrown them in my masterpiece displays. And in reality, Metroplex should probably be 3 times the size in all reality if you're going to go with cartoon accuracy. In fact, the head of Metroplex needs to be the size of MP10. And so with that, that's kind of a scaling thing. That's why this guy's taken over my display where I have my Metroplex, because this guy makes a lot more sense. It fits right, it looks right, it is right. So next I kind of want to show you next to the G1 toy and some design aesthetics. Now, mine's seen better days. This chest plate missing, back piece missing. I actually have 2 more of the tanks that I'm going to kit bash into one fully working one, so he's fully automated, working again just right. I think one of the legs turns, the other one doesn't. Mine's pretty rough, but it doesn't matter. It's still a good representation here. You can see, first off, you see the size difference between the two, and then you also can see that the design differences, but the similarities. It's really interesting how close they got with some of the toy and then some of the cartoon. I think really it's a nice mix between the two, and I'm very impressed about this. So I like it. I was actually impressed when I finally assembled myself this guy and thought, oh man, that looks pretty cool. I never had him as a kid, so as an adult, with just buying lots and stuff and in and up with them, I was pretty impressed. Okay, so getting into why I got him over Fans Toys or Jiang or what's going on, and I'll throw a few reasons out there, but I did do a video back when they just gave us some pictures of what they're going to look like and some of the photo shots. Hey, this is what's coming out. And the reason that back then I really leaned towards Gabriel just from the pictures and then some analysis of versus the cartoon aesthetic and just kind of what I liked, and I just thought he looked cleaner and more cartoonish in my opinion. So Fans Toys has a little bit more of a kind of a, I would say, a mature finish on it. The finish is really nice to it, and so the color of him is a little bit more stylized in a way. Just looks more like a realistic, less cartoonish in my opinion. Also, the Fans Toys carries a hefty price. It's almost, well, for right now, I got this guy $100 less than I can get a Fans Toys one anywhere. So that's number one, $100 cheaper, and to me, the same quality, slightly different aesthetic, but both would be great on your shelf. So the other thing is that with this one, I knew right out of the, I didn't know right out of the box that the lights would work, but I knew right out of the box I would just be able to plop them on my shelf and have them good to go with very little assembly. But this one versus the Fans Toys, I just had this feeling the whole time that I'd like this one better. And now seeing the transformation is a little bit more intuitive, a little easier. I think that there's less chance with this one that you're going to break him in the transformation. I feel like I might break the Fans Toys transformation. And then this is the weakest point. And I'm sure if I break this, DX-9 will send me a replacement part. If not, they may even just send replacement parts because it's a weak point. DX-9 is decent about those kinds of things. Next, I want to talk about Jiang. Jiang is actually better than I thought it was. I first saw the pictures of Jiang and thought it was going to look terrible. Not even an option, and I kind of want Jiang, and here's why. So first of all, I like this kind of stuff here. I like the sound effects that Hasbro throws into it. Jiang is kind of doing that, and I just think it's awesome. It's kind of fun to walk over to your shelf and kind of bring it to life with the push of a button. I think that's great. I mean, lights are cool, but I really like the sounds and the voices, and I mean, I wouldn't be against a voice chip being in every Masterpiece figure. Who knows? Also, the Jiang one will probably drop in price. So when you think about this, Fans Toys and Gabriel, once the people who, the retailers, online retailers, and anybody who bought them to try to resell them, whatever, they're flushed out and all you have is collectors left, and they're nowhere to be found on the market. This is not something going to get a production run every 6 months to a year. This thing is going to be hard to find in a year, maybe 8 months. Who knows? But once it's hard to find, the price is going to go through the roof. Now, on top of it, you're going to attack that it's a heavy box. It's going to cost $30, $40 shipping. It's not something that's going to be easy to find. And Jiang, I believe, is going to be stuck on the retailer shelves, getting clearanced out down to $150 or so. Not because it's a bad bot, but because these two are more cartoon accurate and a little bit better. And so I don't think that many people are going to go, oh, I'll spend $220 on something that if I spent $15 more, I'd have a closer to screen accurate representation. I just don't think that's going to happen. Now, I was turned off by like the lower legs on Jiang because it looked like it was you had these wings on the leg wings on it. And I got to say that now that you can see that when it's completely transformed properly, those clip in and they're not an eyesore. So it doesn't look as clean as either of the other versions, but it's not as bad of an eyesore as the original test shots showed it would be. So Jiang's not a bad option. I mean, obviously, if you don't get any of them and you wait and just get Jiang when he's like 150 or maybe even 120, who knows how cheap that one will get, then do it. That's fine too. I mean, whatever you want to do. I plan on picking a Jiang up when I gets down under 150. And so I have both just to mess with, and probably keep one in, I don't know where I'd put one in base mode on top of this. But anyway, last thing I want to talk about is Prime. So looking at the future of Hasbro, I really think that Hasbro is pretty much done with G1. But I think they're going to carry on making some stuff in the Titan class. And I think the Titan class is going to be targeted almost directly at collectors. And for the price point, for what you're going to get, I think Omega Supreme's on their list. There's a very short list of what's figures they can make that size that makes sense. Omega Supreme is one of them. So large size combiners are another. But really, there's only a few options. Omega Supreme's got to be in the pipeline somewhere. We'll eventually get a hint, I'm sure, of Omega Supreme. But I really know that they're ending G1. And Power of the Primes is going out with a bang. So I'm also planning on doing a video talking about why I think Power of the Primes is the best Hasbro toy line that they've made for Transformers. But still, I tried to put him in this guy's slot to take over MP10 slot in my display, and it just really got on my nerves. But I'll leave that for another day. And Titan Titanium Hanger out.